In the shadows of the criminal underworld, some of the world's most notorious figures didn't just build empires, they mastered business strategies that many entrepreneurs overlook. From Pablo Escobar to Griselda Blanco, these drug lords weren't just about violence and chaos. They were strategic, visionary, and deeply understanding of what it takes to scale and sustain power. In this video, we're not glorifying their crimes, but instead, we're uncovering the business lessons they unknowingly left behind. So, whether you're a startup founder or a seasoned entrepreneur, get ready to learn how risk management, diversification, supply chain control, branding, and market insight can shape your path to success, straight from the playbooks of the world's most infamous business minds. Number 1. The Cali Cartel. When people talk about the Colombian drug trade, Pablo Escobar often steals the spotlight. But while Escobar ruled with chaos and charisma, the real corporate masterminds were the Cali Cartel. They didn't just build a drug empire, they built a business empire. And their secret? Structure, organization, scalability. The Cali Cartel ran like a Fortune 500 company. They had departments for logistics, accounting, bribery, security, even public relations. Each branch of their operation was led by a specialist, not a thug. They wore suits, they went to meetings, they kept detailed records. It was organized crime in the most literal sense. While Escobar thrived on fear, the Cali Cartel thrived on systems. They didn't need headlines, they didn't crave fame. They wanted efficiency, profits, and sustainability. At one point, they controlled 80% of the global cocaine market. That's not luck, that's structure. Now, let's bring it back to your business. Are you building something that can survive without you? Or is everything in your head? Do you have systems in place? Or are you just reacting to problems as they come? Here's the hard truth. Hustle builds income, but structure builds empires. The Cali Cartel had a clear chain of command, a long-term strategy. They reinvested profits into technology, intelligence, and expansion. They didn't just think about today's money, they planned for tomorrow's survival. And even when they were taken down, the systems they created continued to operate for years. That's the power of building a business, not just a hustle. So what's the lesson? Build systems, document everything, create roles, delegate. Because when your business can run without you, that's when it's truly ready to scale. We don't glorify criminals, but we study the playbook. And the Cali Cartel proves that even in the darkest corners of the world, business principles still apply. If you want to build something that lasts, don't just think big, think organized. Because at the end of the day, structure beats chaos. Number 2. Pablo Escobar. At the height of his power, Pablo Escobar was making an estimated $70 to $100 million per day. He was one of the richest men on earth, not because he sold cocaine, but because he controlled the entire journey it took to get to the streets. From seed to street, Escobar mastered one of the most powerful strategies in business: total supply chain control. In the remote hills of Colombia, Escobar's empire began. He didn't buy cocaine. He owned the coca farms. He built the labs that turned those leaves into powder. He paid the pilots who smuggled it across borders, the drivers who delivered it, and the distributors who moved it into cities. Every link in the chain was his, and that made him unstoppable. In business terms, this is called vertical integration, the strategy of owning or controlling every step of your production and distribution process. It's the difference between being a middleman and being the market. Escobar didn't rely on partners. He built an ecosystem. So when the world cracked down on drug trafficking, he didn't go broke. He adapted. Fast. Now, let's translate that into your world. Are you building something that's scalable? Or are you dependent on vendors, platforms, or systems that could vanish tomorrow? The lesson? Control equals power. The more of your supply chain you own, the more freedom you have to scale, pivot, or protect your margins. Think about Apple, Amazon, Tesla. They all follow the same principle. They own their hardware, their software, their logistics, their customer experience. Like Escobar, they reduce outside dependency. Because in business, whoever controls the process controls the profits. We don't glamorize Escobar. His legacy is built on pain and destruction. But the strategy behind the empire? That's something every entrepreneur should study. Because whether you're moving a product, a service, or a story, your power is in your process. And in this game, control isn't just an advantage, it's survival. Number 3, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman wasn't just a drug lord. He was a walking brand, a name that stirred fear, respect, loyalty, and headlines. But here's what most people miss. El Chapo didn't just build a criminal empire, he built a personal brand so strong it rivaled billion-dollar companies. He became a household name across continents, not because he chased attention, but because he crafted a narrative. The poor saw him as a Robin Hood figure. The media painted him as a mastermind. He escaped prison twice. Songs were written about him. T-shirts sold with his face on them. He became a symbol, an idea. And in business, that's called brand power. El Chapo understood what most entrepreneurs miss. Your name, your image, your story is everything. He knew how to control the narrative, play the media, and appear in ways that made him unforgettable. Think of Elon Musk, Oprah, Richard Branson. Their companies are strong, but their personal brands, even stronger. People don't just buy products anymore. They buy stories, they buy trust, they buy energy. And your personal brand is the bridge between what you do and how people feel about it. So, what does your name mean in the minds of others? What do people say about you when you're not in the room? Would someone wear your brand on a hoodie? Or would they scroll past it without a thought? The lesson from El Chapo is clear. Influence is earned. Visibility is built. And your story is your greatest marketing tool. We don't glorify crime, but we extract strategy. Because in business, just like in the underworld, it's not always the strongest who wins. It's the one who knows how to make people remember their name. So build your story, own your image, and become your own brand. Number 4, Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas is a name etched into the underworld of 1970s Harlem. He wasn't loud, he wasn't reckless, he was smart and dangerously strategic. He built an empire on heroin, but his real genius? Diversification, a principle every entrepreneur needs to understand. Frank didn't just sell drugs, he built businesses. He opened dry cleaners. He bought properties. He invested in clubs, shops, real estate, legitimate ventures. He knew one hustle wouldn't last forever, so he spread his risk. He played the long game, because when the streets went cold, his money didn't. This is diversification, the idea that your income shouldn't come from just one stream. Why? Because every market has its storms. And if all your money's tied to one product, one industry, or one platform, one hit can wipe you out. Today's world is no different. Relying on just one job, one client, one hustle, that's financial roulette. Real entrepreneurs build safety nets. A clothing line here, a digital product there, a property, a YouTube channel, stocks, multiple streams, one foundation, freedom. Frank Lucas understood this. He didn't want to be a kingpin forever. He wanted assets that outlived the streets. So even when the empire crumbled, his name was still on the deed. So here's the lesson. Your hustle can make you rich, but your strategy makes you free. Don't wait for the fall to start thinking ahead. Diversify now. Build something that lasts. Because in business, like on the streets, the smart ones never bet it all on one hand. We don't admire the crime, but we study the moves. And Frank Lucas taught us, don't just make money move. Number 5. Griselda Blanco, the Black Widow. One of the most feared and unpredictable figures in cartel history. She didn't survive in a man's world by being loud. She survived by being smarter than everyone in the room. Her edge? Risk management. A lesson every entrepreneur, investor, and hustler must master. Griselda didn't take unnecessary chances. She changed identities, moved through multiple countries, built fallback plans inside fallback plans. When a route was compromised, she didn't panic. She rerouted, adjusted, rebuilt. Because in her world, one mistake could mean death. In ours, it might mean bankruptcy. But the principle is the same. Protect the mission at all costs. Most people only plan for success. Few prepare for what could go wrong. But smart entrepreneurs think in scenarios. What if your supplier fails? What if Instagram shuts down your page? What if your top employee quits tomorrow? Griselda never assumed anything was permanent. She operated like everything could collapse, because it could. And that mindset, it didn't make her paranoid, it made her powerful. Business isn't about avoiding risk, it's about managing it. Having backups, contingencies, contracts, multiple revenue streams, crisis plans. Griselda understood this better than most CEOs ever will. She didn't last because she was lucky. She lasted because she thought 5 moves ahead. She didn't react. She anticipated. And in business, that's what separates the survivors from the statistics. No, we don't celebrate her crimes, but we study her playbook. And Griselda's message is crystal clear. Always have a plan B, and a plan C, and a way out. Because in this game, playing safe is playing smart. The strategies may come from the underworld, but the lessons are real. Take the wisdom, leave the crime, and apply these principles to build your business smarter, faster, and stronger. But tell me this, if you had to take one principle from their playbook and apply it to your business or career, which one would it be, and why? Share your answer in the comments. And if this episode got you thinking differently, check out the related videos on our channel for more bold takes on business and strategy.